Hey, really excited on Ralphie tonight and New York's 95.5 to welcome into the studio a band that I actually heard about on my Twitter feed a few days before I was getting ready to interview them. That was my first sighting of this band. A friend of mine was actually wishing that she wasn't studying for midterms and instead going to the show you had the other night, which was, I heard, jam-packed and crazy. The band LANY is here, LANY. It's an acronym. We'll get into it in a second. We have Les, Jake, and Paul.
Correct.
Gentlemen, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
And thanks for performing earlier. You guys sounded great. Do you guys always answer in sync like that, by the way, or no? Yeah?
We did.
Apparently not, obviously. How'd the show go the other night? It was at Webster Hall, right?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Amazing. It was
Into the mic.
Kind of a dream come true. We've only been playing live since February of 2015, and so we've played a lot. We've kind of not stopped since we started, but to be in Webster Hall in the big room to play our own show was amazing.
In front of a jam-packed crowd, and I would imagine like people are going crazy in there. I mean, there's a lot of energy, I would imagine, too, in the room, right? Or not?
Definitely. Like I felt the floor going like this half the set, which was really cool. I thought.
That's a typical Webster Hall show. I love it. That's great that you had a cool New York experience like that. Obviously, we mentioned the band's name is an acronym, stands for LA in New York, but the band was formed in Nashville.
Correct.
So what I miss here, like what?
Well, we were all friends in Nashville. I met Jake at a YMCA, and then Jake was living in a house with Les and 3 other guys, and I kind of met them at the end of my time in Nashville, and we were just friends. I'd just hang out all the time, but we never talked about working on music or doing anything like that. I wound up moving to Los Angeles on my own, and during the course of my move out there, Jake and Les started to make songs on Les's computer out of the front room of their house. And they had this duo called Worlds, and I really liked it, and I was kind of doing some singer-songwriter stuff, and it just wasn't working out at all, and was so close to quitting, and mustered up enough courage to call Jake and pretty much ask if I could be in their band, or at least like fly to Nashville and see what we could come up with. And so I flew there, I guess in March of 2014, and we wrote and recorded our first 2 songs, Hot Lights and Walk Away, in those 4 days. And we needed a band name, and I knew that I wanted a 4-letter word because I knew that we'd be putting it on everything, and I just kind of like the aesthetic of 4 letters and something strong, but every 4-letter word is taken. So then I started moving on to like acronyms, and we were thinking TTYL for a second, but I'm so glad we didn't do that.
We had an Instagram account for it.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, wow. So that was almost a thing.
Yeah. We just couldn't think of anything, and then I was thinking about the span of the country and the 2 major cities on both sides, and put together Los Angeles and New York, and there you have it.
All right, so, I mean, obviously, you lived in LA. You had moved out there. Did you move out there, by the way, Paul, for modeling and stuff, or what were you going out there for?
I mean, I had no plans, no promises, no opportunities.
Just picked up and left?
You just kind of feel it in your gut?
Well, yes, but I've never, and I admire that trait in people, the ability to just pick up and go, because I don't have it.
Right.
Like even when I moved to New York 4 years ago, like I moved here with a pretty good job. Like I lucked out, like I found a dope apartment, like have a lot of friends here. So it like all worked out. You just pick up and go. What was it in your gut? What was telling you to move?
Man, it's just this feeling that I felt like I was supposed to be out there. I'd always been enamored with California growing up. My first time in LA, I was 15, and I just remember being there and being like, wow, I love this place. And I just kind of felt it, like I just knew that was where I was supposed to be. And luckily, my parents were down with me going out there, and like everybody was kind of supportive, even though it made absolutely no sense. And I moved out there, and I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment in Hollywood by myself. And I have a college degree, and I was applying to wash dishes at Whole Foods. I applied to check people out, like be a grocery checker at Trader Joe's. I applied to work at Chase Bank, just anything to get something, and I couldn't get a job anywhere. And I wound up like holding the door in a suit at Celine on Rodeo Drive, and I would like just do whatever I could to basically eat that night. And during that process of trying to find a job, I also really like clothes and fashion, and I thought, maybe I could be a sales rep for a company. and there was happened to be one guy in my apartment complex from Seattle, and he told me about this company downtown. So I just went in and I said, hey, I need a job and I'm really interested. I'll do whatever. And they're like, we have an internship. And I'm like, that doesn't really pay, does it? And so I'm walking out the door, man, literally walking out. I was like, I'm interested in the internship, but I do have to pay my bills. And so let me get back to you. I'm walking out the door and they stop me like, hey, like really quick. Have you ever modeled or do you do anything? Like your sizing and your dimension seems right. Like, would you want to, we need some photos for our website. Would you want to do it? And I'm like, okay, I guess. I don't have any plans. And like, we can't pay you, but we'll give you some free stuff. And we'll, I'm like, all right. So I walked in later on like a Friday later that week and did my first like shoot and put up one photo on Instagram of it. And then that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Let's rewind back to when you call Les and Jake to basically crash their band. What were you guys thinking when he called?
Oh, I was thrilled. It was an immediate yes for me, obviously, and Les, because we're all friends, and so we were just like fans of each other. And I thought Paul was awesome, and like I had heard his solo stuff that he had done in the past, and was always such a fan. And I thought he was cool. He dressed cool. He would come over and watch sports, and we would just eat large pizzas and just whatever, bro out. But so yeah, when he called, we're like, yeah, that'd be awesome because we were having fun doing what we were doing with Worlds, that band we had, and we knew Paul was a stud. So we're like, if he comes in, it could be something special. And he got there, and we did those 2 songs, and Paul might tell you a little more later, but like when we started getting a lot of emails and SoundCloud from labels and stuff, we knew it was really serious. And they're like, what are your other songs? And we didn't have any other songs. We just had those 2. So he came back to Nashville. We did 3 more songs. And then Les and I just decided to move to LA and move into his 1-bedroom apartment because we really believed in it and believed in each other. And so
the 3 of you in a 1-bedroom apartment, what was that like?
I mean, it was
Guitar Center.
Yeah. Jake has a lot of, drums are kind of like a big object. And so, but what's kind of crazy is I was living in LA and I had the opportunity to move to New York to model. So it's almost kind of like LANY became like, it almost like manifested. So I was living in Los Angeles, but then I came and lived in New York for 6 months, came here for Fashion Week in like August of 2014. And then stayed and wound up working out here. But while I was out here, Jake and Les moved into my apartment in Hollywood. So they moved in, I got back, and like the kitchen was now just Guitar Center. And everyone's kind of stuff was, all over the place. And like it was a small, tiny space, but I look back with such fond memories of that time. We lived in there like pretty much a whole year together. So Jake had a twin mattress on the floor next to my twin mattress in the corner, and Les literally slept on the wood floor of our apartment for a year.
Wow.
For the back.
Yeah, I bet. So it's nice to hear that New York does factor in, because I was going to ask, like, if you guys had been to New York, visited New York. You lived in New York, for 6 months. What was that whole experience like here, being here for Fashion Week and modeling and stuff?
It was amazing. I mean, I really do. I love Los Angeles. I have it, like, tattooed on my finger. I probably will, like, have a family there.
What is it? Is it just LA?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like the Dodger symbol, basically, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Gotcha.
But New York, there's no place in the world like it, man. I think this is probably the greatest city in the world. And it was I had the best time walking around, and just the pace is so ridiculous. It's so different from LA, and people work so hard here. And I honestly think that, everyone's ahead here, just in fashion and in taste and in culture. And I really appreciate it for what it is. And I lived off the DeKalb stop on the L train in Bushwick, and that was still, I guess Bushwick's getting pretty nice now. But
yeah, gentrification's happening pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
And
so I would just take the train in all the time. I honestly like walked circles around the island. Like I would go everywhere and see everything that I could and just take it all in. And it was good. It shaped me as a creative for sure.
We have LANY here on Ralphie Tonight. My name's Ralphie, of course. All right, so you guys put the 2 songs on SoundCloud. Labels start reaching out. You create some more. But then really, I think the song that has kind of broken out and got a lot of people's attention is one that you performed here for us, which is I Love You So Bad. So when did that song come about?
That was our 3rd song.
Oh, that was the 3rd one. Okay.
So we did Hot Lights and Walk Away, in 6 days of putting those on the internet, we got our first email from a record label, which happened to be Polydor. So if you were to fast forward a whole year, that's who we wound up signing to. But after Polydor, the next day it was Parlophone, Island UK, and all of it was, this is great, what else do you have? We had nothing. So we looked at our calendars and we figured when the next time I could fly to Nashville to make more songs, which was, I guess, around like middle or late May. So that's when we wrote and recorded I Love You So Bad, BRB, and Made in Hollywood. And actually, we thought Made in Hollywood was our hit.
Mm-hmm.
And
which, I mean, who knows? It could, right?
Yeah,
It's
who knows? I mean, nobody. Yeah, things just like pop off 3 years later now, like all the time. But we thought it was, so we were like, all right, we'll put out I Love You So Bad and BRB under this EP acronyms, and people will like it, but then we'll really hit them with Made in Hollywood. And so we put out I Love You So Bad and Be Right Back July 1st of 2014. I don't know why, probably because I do all of our Instagram, and I just remember being like,
your recall.
Yeah, yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah, so that's July 1st. And then I moved to New York
That next month.
the next month, and we were all having all these discussions like, all right, let's just ride the wave, and then because we don't have that much material, so we need to pace ourselves here because we only have one more song Made in Hollywood until I can get back and make more. But we just rode that I Love You So Bad wave for a little while. Like, it just really took off, and we had no idea. And then we put out Made in Hollywood in September, and then I wound up flying back to LA for a week or two to work on like Bad Bad Bad, Someone Else. That's when we started doing the I Loved You EP. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but
because I'm gonna. So you guys have 2 EPs out.
We have
3 EPs out now. I'm having a hard time keeping track, and I guess with your recall, you'll be able to probably help me with like the timeline, because one of them was re-released.
Correct.
But you don't have a full length yet. You have the material, it seems, for a full length, but you don't have a full length out.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, where do you guys go now that you have 3 EPs out and you're now touring behind these? Like, where do you guys go from here? Like, what's the next step?
Well, we do. We are in a very interesting position. I'm not sure. I'm sure other bands maybe have been in this position before, but we're not a big band, but we can play the big room in Webster Hall, and we don't have a debut album out. We have 3 EPs that really build this massive story and have built this foundation, and we have built a fan base that is remarkable. I would say that our fan base is one of the best fan bases in the world. They are so loyal and so intense, and it's honestly such a blessing. But now we've put ourselves in a position like, well, how do we put out this debut album that is like, when you put out a debut album, it's like, this is who we are, right? Mm-hmm. This is like our stamp, and this is so significant. Like, this is symbolic of who we are as a band. But then we have all this history where maybe some of these songs, like on these EPs, that how do we, and I have a plan, and I think it's beautiful and it's perfect, and I figured it out. But I'm talking you through my whole, like, my thought process.
Yeah.
So I cannot tell you how we're going to do it. I know how we're going to do it. But I want to keep it a surprise, because things could be really
That was
amazing.
a big build-up, basically, for a letdown.
Yeah. But I'm letting you know
you
that
went
it's
all the way around. You took the scenic route for me, and then, we ended up not getting there at all.
I guess it would have been kind of boring for me to be like, we got to figure it out, man. Next question.
Thank you for not doing that, though. Yeah. And you guys obviously are down with the plan as well, have contributed to the plan.
Yeah, of course.
Jake and Les aren't talking too much here, but
we're here.
But they're here. Yeah. So, well, now I'm curious. Now, inherently, I want to ask more questions about this plan. I don't know how much you're going to tell me about it, if anything. But, like, so you have the 3 EPs. You have an album that you want to put out. Have you already recorded the stuff for this album, or no?
We have some, but there's still some work to be done. So we're like working on the bus, and we work in green rooms. We wrote a song. I wrote half of a song in a bathroom in Omaha. We recorded the vocals for it in a Marriott in Philadelphia. Like, just we're having to multitask every single day, but we're gonna get it done.
I find that interesting as well, that you're able to do that while on the road, because some people can't.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say that it's the easiest thing in the world. We're still trying to figure out if we actually can. I mean, it's definitely a slower process. It's much easier when you just wake up and you all live in the same house, and the setup's in the kitchen, and we are starting at 11 a.m. We'll finish at 6 p.m. because that's how we did it when we were home, but it's a little different now.